All right, so some big breaking news. President Trump and the Department of War have, in the last few hours, released the first batch of UFO and extraterrestrial related documents that have long been awaited, and I took a look at them, analyzed them, and we're going to give an honest Christian opinion on them, as it's been a paradigm shifting event to many. So let's get into the updates, what the initial feedback has been, and give you my honest perspective, because it's not what you may think, but I believe is completely biblical and godly. So let's get into it. So although this has been an ongoing request for a long time, one of the reporters, specifically during the Artemis astronaut visit, asked them about when the UFO disclosures and files may be. And President Trump took active initiative to say that they are going to soon be released. And this was back on April 30th, a week ago. And then in a surprise move, the DOW, the Department of War, released these files. And these files can be looked up and viewed by anybody. And so a lot of people have actually read it even in the last few hours and put AI through it and all of these things. So I'm going to give you guys some of those conclusions, sample some updates, and just see where we are at. Now, both the DOW and Trump has mentioned that this is the first batch of UFO and UAP files for the public. So he says, as for my promise to you, the Department of War has released the first tranche of the UFO, UAP files to the public for their review and study. In an effort for complete and maximum transparency, it was my honor to direct my administration to identify and provide government files related to alien and extraterrestrial life, unidentified aerial phenomena, and unidentified flying objects, which we commonly know it as UFOs. The other one's UAP, and then of course alien and extraterrestrial life. And then he finishes by saying, whereas the previous administrations have failed to be transparent on this subject, with these new documents and videos, the people can decide for themselves what the H is going on. Have fun and enjoy. Now, this is interesting because days ago, a lot of Christians, especially some influencers, have claimed that pastors were briefed prior to this disclosure by U.S. officials. Many, including Perry Stone, have cited that people were invited to a government meeting to prepare their congregations, Christians, church members for this disclosure, because it's going to be very eye-opening, paradigm shifting. Now, again, anybody can go to this website, but it's war.gov/UFO. And here you can see 17 pages of documents. And within each of these clicks, there are hundreds and hundreds of pages. So I opened up the random one here, and this has at least 200 to 300 pages of scanned documents from who knows what, from at least from 70, 80 years ago all the way till now. So in each of these 17 pages, there's 10 items that each have a executive summary and many hundreds of files attached to it. Now, many members of Congress have been saying that this is just a drop in the bucket compared to the holy crap, quote unquote, moment that is coming. And this is according to Tim Burchett specifically. And again, 162 files released Friday, some dating 80 plus years. Now, just like with the last video, most people are saying that this video, among all the videos, is the most interesting because there's this sort of unusual shaped UAP that is moving in abnormal directions. And it's hard to differentiate what this may be, but a lot of people saying that this was some kind of either camera artifact, diffraction spikes, a bit like gimbals, different cameras. Others saying a resemblance to the alleged star UFO that leaked a few months ago. And again, others just pointing at different sort of phenomenon that have this black and white image or just very grainy video that is showing things moving about. And then others taking excerpts from what seems like some storytelling or communication between certain groups from the 1960s, where this is like the closest, in some sense, to talking about some kind of extraterrestrial life, where some master Kalen Lee Renton was from the planet Corridor. And again, it sounds like a joke or some literary story from literature. But a lot of people have allowed AI to analyze all of this in the first, hour of when it was released. And here's a post from somebody on Reddit who scanned this. And especially in the first 10 PDFs, this is what the archive reveals. 4 simultaneous realities. Number 1, a genuine military/intellectual concern. Number 2, a collection of unresolved aerospace incidents. Number 3, a rapidly growing cultural and psychological phenomenon. And number 4, and eventually a mythology shaped by media secrecy and public distrust. And the files repeatedly show these categories overlapping, that the U.S. military took UFOs extremely seriously, that the early government's fear was primarily technological, and of course many cases clearly disturbing investigators, especially some of the pilots, radar operators, astronauts, anybody that was able to see this. Now, Derek Evans here on X posted that he allowed Grok to see all 160 some files and have them analyze it for us. So I just want to read some excerpts of this. There are historical records covering roughly 1947 to 1968 on flying disc and UFO reports. Contents include public witness letters and detailed sighting reports, internal FBI memos and telexes, correspondence between FBI, military, and other agencies, investigation notes, and follow-ups. There are more complete versions, fewer redactions than what was previously available in the FBI public vault. Apollo mission materials, photos, and transcripts. So a lot of what people are seeing was from some of the moon missions. And so these are newly highlighted visual and audio record items in the release. So photos, Apollo 17 from 1972, one image shows 3 dots in a triangular formation visible in the lunar sky/horizon. The official caption states there is no consensus about the nature of the anomaly, but a preliminary analysis indicates that it could be a physical object. Apollo 12 from 1969, images show anomalous dots/objects captured above the lunar surface or during lunar operations, and there's transcripts from all of that. Apollo 17, astronauts and operators describe very jagged, angular fragments that are tumbling bright 6-inch snowflake-like particles drifting and tumbling away from the spacecraft, a distant, bright, rotating object flashing rhythmically, calling something physical in the distance estimated 10 to 12 Earth diameters away. Peripheral flashes and a possible small lunar impact flash. And now a lot of posts are actually bringing this part up, but that this whole Apollo 17 transcript on what they were seeing has been sort of dismissed as floating insulation, but there's been just a lot of things, no consensus on what this objects were, but it was a very big talk, I think, back in that time, and also with the ratio of what these documents are that were released. And then Apollo 12, reports of flashes and particles of light escaping the moon, sailing into space, floating bits and pieces, and instrument anomalies. And then at least one modern 2023 FBI report, drone pilot sighting a linear object with a super bright banded light that suddenly vanished. Now again, this is the first tranche, the first wave of documents, and we literally analyzed it quickly and looked at it from a high-level perspective on what was the most interesting. And big picture, it doesn't seem like there was anything crazy groundbreaking in the sense that, oh, this proves that we have a close-up HD 4K image of some extraterrestrial or UFO or something like that, but a lot of these videos and a lot of what was shown is kind of vague. It's from far away. It's from some maybe spacecraft or military airplane, and they're capturing it, but it's not really showing clarity, and there's a lot of ambiguity in terms of what was seen, what evidence, and all that. So it's only the first pass at this, which obviously is getting people curious and able to kind of deep dive into it, and it's going to be a little bit of a stair-step approach to kind of get people on board, awakened, and getting their feet wet. But what's interesting is a lot of Christians and conservatives are commenting about what this may be, about what this is. A lot of people saying aliens are demons, and just a lot of kind of back and forth in terms of if you don't understand something, then it's a cop-out just to say it's a demon and just explain it away. And there's a lot of just dialogue around this topic. And so I want to get into some of this, because if you're a believer, if you believe the Bible, and if you're trying to discern in terms of what's going on in the world, it'll be very naive to brush off something that you may not understand to say that, oh, it's just got to be demons, or it's just got to be not possible. People are lying about it, or it just doesn't make sense, and so I'm going to explain it away in a certain way. And so my no-nonsense conclusion to all of this as a believer who I, over the years, have grown in many ways, including understanding that modern-day prophecy exists, that people that are seers, that have near-death experiences, that go to heaven and back, and just many other miraculous signs and wonders. And also a student of the Word is that when you see something like this, there's an explanation, because a lot of people are seeing things or experiencing things and don't dismiss it, but it's got to be one of a few things. It's either demonic activity, which many people say is true, but it's not always the case. It could be angelic activity, whether it's good or bad, meaning with fallen angels, the Nephilim, giants, and all these things that people have understood for a long time. They also possibly could have spacecraft heavenly angels could also have some technology or spacecraft. But what I don't believe is that God created far off distant planets with extraterrestrial life and other beings over there. Because God clearly created the heavens and the earth. He created man, humans, and he also has had for a long time these angels, the spiritual war of fallen angels being demons, Satan. And so all this stuff could be some explanation or manifestation of some of these things. So people are seeing certain things which I don't discredit as being not credible, but at the same time, whether they saw something or not, whether it's explainable by some foreign, agent or camera technology like issues where it just shows some like light flash or some dust or whatever, case by case, there's things to be analyzed there and conclude. But as more of this starts to come out, people have to really understand and get a grip on their perception of reality and make sure that their paradigm shifting narratives that are going to come out doesn't make them fall away from the Lord and then have an incorrect view, in my opinion, of what this reality is, of why and how you can explain away aliens, extraterrestrials, UFOs, and just this other way to see beings. So let's see what else comes of this. Obviously, this is the first of many, and Trump mentions that every few weeks, or I think the DOW mentions every few weeks, if it's possible, they will update and give more information about this. But pray about it, seek the Lord, and just be very careful as you discern what's happening with all of this information. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. It's definitely an interesting time. And also, if you guys want to continue to support me, you guys know I'm listener supported. I'm doing a lot of things behind the scenes. Would love it if you guys can help partner with me financially. I have a monthly recurring goal for fundraising that I'd like to target. All of that is in the information down below in the description, givesendgo.com/chrisyoonyt. Also, alternatively, I have PayPal, Zelle, Venmo. So love you guys. More to come. Talk to you guys very soon.